Here's why carnivore sometimes succeeds where willpower fails. It's not because carnivores are tougher humans. It's because this way of eating quietly changes the rules of the game in your brain and your body. In this video, I'm going to show you how. By the end of our time together, we'll understand the hidden mechanisms that make carnivore work when every other diet falls apart. So you can stop doubting yourself, stop blaming your willpower, and start tweaking your plan instead of throwing it away. And if you're new here, hi, I'm Dr. Tony Hampton, a board-certified family and obesity medicine physician with a master's in nutrition and functional medicine. And yes, your friendly neighborhood carnivore friendly doc. Here's why this matters. A lot of you are months or years into carnivore and you're asking, is this still worth it? Am I crazy for eating this way? I don't want you abandoning something that's quietly healing you just because the scale slowed down or your cousin at the cookout made a joke. Drop in the comments, I'm still in if you're staying carnivore, or rebuilding if you're making a comeback. And stick with me because a little later, I'm going to share one hormone timing insight that explains why carnivore feels effortless for some people and why others still feel snacky at night, even when they're living on ribeyes. Here's the thesis in one sentence. The reason carnivore works isn't your willpower. It's that carnivore removes the foods and patterns that hijack your hunger, hormones, and brain chemistry. So you finally find out what normal appetite actually feels like. Let's talk about what's really happening under the hood in plain English. Before carnivore, on the standard American diet or even clean high carb, your hunger signals were like a broken thermostat. You'd spike your blood sugar, insulin would rush in, and then your sugar would crash. Your brain interpreted that as danger. We're running out of fuel. Go eat now. That's not a personality flaw. That's physiology. When your plate becomes fatty meat, eggs, butter, and maybe some seafood, that roller coaster flattens. You're not chasing highs and crashes all day. Insulin calms down. Your brain realizes, we're okay. Energy is steady. Suddenly, you don't have to fight your biology every 2 hours just to stay out of the pantry. Next, protein leverage. Your body has a non-negotiable required for amino acids. When you undereat protein, your appetite stays stuck on the on position. On carnivore, you're front-loading the most satiating macro, protein, with enough fat that hormones like CCK and peptide YY can finally yell, we're done here, and your brain actually listens. Then there's reward chemistry. Ultra-processed food is engineered to blast dopamine. That's why you can inhale a family-sized bag of chips and still need something sweet. Stay carnivore long enough, and those receptors start to reset. Food becomes fuel again, not a 24/7 entertainment system. You're not winning a willpower contest. You've simply turned off the loudest sirens. And we can't ignore inflammation and mood. Chronic inflammation in the gut and brain drives cravings, anxiety, poor sleep, and that wired but tired feeling. But pulling out seed oils, sugar, grains, and your personal trigger foods, you lower that inflammatory noise. That's why so many carnivores say, I finally feel calm around food. Calm people don't need much willpower. They need fewer emergencies. So the magic isn't that carnivores are superheroes. It's that the battlefield is less chaotic. Let's bust one big myth. Carnivore is just an extreme willpower diet. You're just white-knuckling meat instead of white-knuckling salad. Mechanism. Carnivore works because it simplifies your food environment and stabilizes your internal signals, so you don't have to negotiate all day. Look at your old life, reading every label, tracking every macro, making deals with yourself. One cookie, but I'll walk later. Arguing over whether almonds are a snack or a meal. That's exhausting. On carnivore, the rule is simple. You eat real animal food, decision fatigue drops, food noise drops, and you suddenly discover you had more self-control than you thought. You were just fighting a rigged system. Now let's put this into a practical clinical note you can actually use to stay in the game. What to start? Anchor your day with ruminant meat, beef, lamb, maybe even bison. Build 1 or 2 real meals instead of grazing all day. Aim for roughly 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight, with enough fat to keep you satisfied for 4 to 6 hours. Salt your food. Hydrate. Use eggs and seafood as tools if you tolerate them, not as random add-ons. What to stop or pause? The constant just a little carnivore snacking. Cheese here, cold cuts there, carnivore treats all day. Even if the foods are technically unplanned, the behavior pulls you back into snack culture. culture. Also watch the habit of eating late at night when you're not hungry. That's not your body. That's your routine asking for company. What to measure? Don't let the scale be the only judge and jury. Measure your waist. Track how long you can go between meals without getting shaky or cranky. Rate your morning energy, your joint pain, your mood. Watch your labs over time. Fasting insulin, glucose, A1C, triglyceride to HDL ratio, blood pressure. That's where you often see healing even when the number on the scale is being dramatic. Now, objections and pitfalls. I hear these all the time. But doc, I still overeat on carnivore foods. Okay, so the problem isn't necessarily carnivore, it's how you're using it. Are you under eating earlier and then binging at night? Are you eating from hunger or from stress, boredom, or habit? One fix I often use in clinic: schedule one unrushed, satisfying meal earlier in the day so you're not going into the evening on fumes. My cholesterol went up, doc. Should I bail? You don't ignore that, but you zoom out. Are your triglycerides dropping? Is HDL improving? Has your blood pressure, waist size, or inflammation improved? Your body is remodeling. Some markers change before others. Work with a knowledgeable clinician, but don't abandon a metabolically healing diet based on fear alone. Socially, this is hard. My family thinks I'm extreme. I hear this one so much I made a separate video about it, which I'll link on the end screen. Totally real. This is where identity comes in. You're not on a diet. You're someone who discovered how their body actually works. You can choose how strict you want to be in each season, but don't hand the steering wheel back to people who don't live in your body. What if I work nights or odd shifts? Same principles, different clock. 1 or 2 solid meals built around meat, planned around your shift, electrolytes, protect your sleep as best you can. The body reads the quality and timing of food more than the name of the meal. Now, for a lesser known insight, I promise. Leptin is your "we're safe, we have enough fat stored" hormone. It talks to your brain mainly at night. When you're snacking late, running on carbs, and keeping insulin high into the evening, leptin's message gets jammed. Your brain wakes up thinking, we're in a famine, store more fat, stay hungry. On carnivore, when you eat real protein and fat, and give yourself a few hours between your last meal and bedtime, you give leptin a clear microphone. Over time, the brain believes the message. We're okay. We have enough. That's why so many of you say, I just don't obsess about food anymore. That's not a moral upgrade. That's hormone sensitivity improving. I hope that was a logical explanation. And if it was, do me a favor. Tap like so YouTube will share this with more people who are about to give up on a way of eating that might change their life. And if you're new to my channel but not new to carnivore, hit subscribe so you've got a doctor in your corner who actually speaks your language. Let's recap this quickly. Number 1, carnivore doesn't magically give you more willpower. It removes the blood sugar chaos, dopamine hijacks, and inflammation that were draining your willpower in the first place. Number 2, success on carnivore is about consistency with simple, satisfying meals, not about adding diet drama back with constant snacking and treats. Number 3, your hormones and brain chemistry are quietly recalibrating. So measure progress by how you feel, move, think, and live, not just by what the scale says this week. Let me leave you with this. You already did something brave. You stepped out of the mainstream and chose a way of eating that actually works for your body. That's not a fad move. That's a freedom move. There will be plateaus. There will be confusing labs and awkward family dinners. But every time you choose the foods that give you clarity, energy, and less pain, you cast a vote for the future version of you that's waiting. So don't ask, do I deserve to stay carnivore? Ask, is this way of eating still leading me toward health, strength, and peace with food? If the answer is yes, your job is not perfection. Your job is to stay in the game long enough to see what's truly possible. In the comments, tell me this. What is one carnivore win, big or small, that keeps you going when you're tempted to quit? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear in this moment. I'll see you in the next video.